I'm going to start this video saying the same thing I said after game one. There's a lot of basketball left. At the end of the day, Boston has only done what they're supposed to do, which is defend home court. They're going into Dallas with a 2-0 lead. They're 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. All of the momentum is on their side for sure. But we always say a series doesn't start until the team wins on the road. So with all of that being said, with all that they've done, they still have to go into Dallas and at least split, or if not, sweep out and win the NBA Finals. But there is a lot of basketball left. We've seen 2-0 leads be blown. We've seen 3-1 comebacks. We've seen last year where Boston was down 3-0 and still found a way to force a Game 7 against Miami. We've seen all of these different things happen in the NBA. So we still have to do our due diligence and understand, even with all of the momentum and everything we've seen, there is still a lot of basketball left. Now, with that being said, I think this is the staple game for me, for Boston, to kind of show why I was so strong in picking them and why I kind of couldn't really wrap my mind around anybody picking Dallas. You know what I mean? It's, again, no shot at Dallas. It's nothing to discredit them. I feel like this run that they've been on to get here has been phenomenal. Taking out OKC, taking out the Clippers, even though they didn't have Kawhi, was still impressive. Taking out the Timberwolves after they beat the Nuggets in 7, and to beat the Timberwolves in the fashion that they did, super impressive run. But the Boston Celtics are just that much better than anybody that they've seen. Boston has been better than anybody in the NBA during the regular season, during the playoffs. They've handled teams so bad that people are questioning their run. And I mean, I get it. They've had injuries against a lot of the teams, or every team that they faced during this run. And I think that's kind of blinded people's perspective. But they have been that much better than the NBA the whole way through. And a night like tonight is the prime example on the difference between the two teams. Luca Doncic is a phenomenal player. He is the best player in this series, and his game has speaking volumes for that. I don't really have to defend that. We know what Kyrie Irving can be. We haven't seen it in these first 2 games, and they've just had a complete team effort to get this far. But on the flip side, Boston is just a different monster. We look at a night like tonight, where Boston shoots 10 of 39 from 3 at a 25% clip. Right on top of that, they have their 2 best players. Whoever you think is better, that's up for you to decide. But their 2 best players combined to go 14 of 37 from the field, 2 of 12 from 3, and they combined for 9 turnovers. This is a game where Jason Tatum, I believe he started like 1 of 7, 1 of 8, 1 of 9 or something like that from the field, and really just couldn't get going. This is a team where they made 3 threes, went 3 of 15 in the first half from 3, while Luca was damn near just unstoppable on the offensive side of the basketball floor. And they still found a way to go into the half up. And I went on Twitter and I said it. And a lot of people, I don't know why, but I guess Boston Celtic fans right now, a few of them, I won't speak for them all because I've seen a lot of Boston Celtic fans, and I definitely don't want the few to kind of dilute the entire fan base. But a few of them took what I said literal, but I was saying that it's almost unfair that Boston can be up going into the half while Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown virtually didn't do anything really of what you would expect from your best player. While on the flip side, you have Luca like single-handedly outperforming damn near the entire Boston Celtics team. I mean, the only person that was really keeping up with him was Jrue Holiday, and we understand that the way Jrue Holiday was scoring was a lot different than the way Luca Doncic was scoring. Luca going into the half has 23 points, 9 of 13 shooting, 3 of 6 from the 3. The biggest thing is that he had 3 turnovers and 3 missed free throws. And, I mean, he outscored the Brown and Tatum duo alone. Those 2 guys combined for 13 points on 7 of 14 shooting, 0 of 4 from 3 with a combined 5 turnovers. He outplayed their duo, their star-studded All-NBA max contract, perennial All-Star wing duo. He handled single-handedly as far as weight that's being carried. And still, on top of that, they went 3 of 15 from the three-point line at a 20% clip, and they went into the half up 3. And even at this point of the game, Kyrie wasn't necessarily having a bad game. Kyrie was shooting 50% from the field, 5 of 10 with 10 points. So their duo combined for 33 first half points, while Boston's duo combined for 13. They outscored them by 20 by 20 points and still was down 3 because you have a guy like Jrue Holiday who is not going to get the priority defensively and get the attention defensively that Luca or Tatum or Brown or Kyrie is going to get. So he was able to go 7-9 for 17 first half points. Kind of like the first game where you saw Kristaps Porzingis able to come off the bench and have 18 first half points. Jrue Holiday comes in, gives you 7 of 9. He makes a 3, got to the free throw line, added in an assist, 4 rebounds, no turnovers. Obviously, we know what he does defensively. I think him and Derek White really turned it up in the second half defensively with some of the plays they made. The fact that they were almost able to force an 8-second violation on Luca, force him to have to make a panic pass. That turned into a turnover. The block that Derek White had on P.J. Washington, that would have made it a 3-point game in the final minute of the game. I mean, these two dudes defensively are just – and probably the best defensive backcourt we've seen in a long time. I don't want to say ever in history. I know they said that on broadcast, and we can get, very caught up in the moment. So I don't want to say that. But in a while, I don't think we've seen a versatile defensive backcourt like these two. And it's almost like they can just flip a switch at any moment and just cause havoc. Kind of seen in the Pacers series where, the Pacers would do their thing and keep up with them. And as soon as they needed to, Jrue Holiday would just turn it up, and he's forcing Halliburton to get a turnover, or he's forcing Nembhard in the backcourt to get a turnover. They do this a lot, and it's almost kind of scary how they can flip the switch. So Jrue Holiday, Porzingis in game 1, Jrue Holiday in game 2. Game 3, damn it, we might see Derek White. You know what I mean? Game 3 might be Al Horford going 7-12 from 3 again. You know what I mean? This is a real situation that could be happening. I've said it 100 times before. I know I sound like a broken record. We may have a series in the finals in store where Jason Tatum is playing this type of basketball and they're able to win it. I just can't remember, and maybe y'all can, so let me know in the comments. I can't remember a team whose best player could go 6-22, 1-7 from 3 with 3 turnovers, 18 points, and they could win. And they can win I don't want to say convincingly, but this is a game that they have full control over. They had full control over. Great start to the game by the Mavericks. Great opening quarter. Luka Doncic was phenomenal in the first half. Offensively, I'll say. But, I mean, some of the lows and some of the moments that Curry had in the finals those years ago, I don't know if they, off the top of my head, I can't remember if they were this low. I mean, and again, I don't want to pick apart Jason Tatum because he had some phenomenal moments in this game, especially with the passing. The 12 assists, phenomenal. He went in and got some rebounds in that front court and in the trenches with some of those bigs that I think is always impressive. But, I mean, this is 2 games now. The last game, he went, 6 of 16 for 16 points. In this game, he goes 6 of 22 for 18 points. And they're still winning. They're still winning the games. At this point, I don't know who's the finals MVP. That's the question we should ask. Through the first 2 games, who is the finals MVP? Because this game belonged to Jrue. He did every single thing. The first game, I think you go to Porzingis. I know Jaylen Brown led them in scoring in a box score number by 2 points or something like that. But Porzingis obviously changed the entire course of the game when he came off the bench and was hitting all of those shots and blocking all of those shots. And so it's through 2 games, is looking like a Boston Celtics role player could win it. A Boston Celtics role player could really win the finals MVP unless they take a look and say, hey, Jaylen Brown has been the consistent star, though he hasn't had no Luca Doncic type performance. He had 22 in the first game, real solid. Went at Luca on those switches, got some steals on Luca in the backcourt. And in this game, didn't have a bad game, but also didn't have a crazy game where he went 8 of 15, solid shooting. 1 of 5 from 3. But he had 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals. The 6 turnovers hurt, obviously. But I just don't, I don't know where the course of the finals MVP is going to land. I seen somebody on Twitter, I think it was my guy Lowe, Legend of Winning. I think Lowe said, this is the first time in history where I'm in favor for the losing player to get the finals MVP because that's how good Luca has been. And the Boston Celtics are literally doing this on a complete team basis. This is a team effort if we've ever seen one. From the defensive side of the basketball with the backcourt of Derek White and Jrue Holiday, Obviously, Jaylen Brown and Tatum have stepped up. There's times where they both held their own and did phenomenal jobs on Kyrie Irving or Luca Doncic. Hell, Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard, again, another game where both of those guys don't stand out like sore thumbs in the defensive side of the basketball. You got to give them credit there. And, yeah, you're just having a situation where Luca, like I told some other guys before when we were discussing the finals, Luca can have a great series. He can have a great finals, and they can still lose the series. You know what I mean? Because that's how much better the Celtics are. There's not even a lot of room for error. I mean, Luka Doncic gives you a 30-point triple-double, and granted, he had 8 turnovers. It just felt like he made every shot he could throughout the course of this game. The fourth quarter was extremely tough for him. That was by far the worst quarter, and I think at that point he had just been so much he had to carry to get that far. He just kind of ran out of gas there. The one thing I will say about Luka, right, and a lot of people are going to pinpoint this because they lost, and you got to find some things to talk about. Luka's effort defensively is going to get talked about. It's going to get talked about. It's a hard conversation to have because of how much he is giving them offensively. I talked about it in game 1 a little bit. There were I just remember vividly, it's like burned into my brain. The top of the key 3 from Jason Tatum in game 1 is simply because Luka couldn't keep up with the rotations. But at the same time, you called it out, and obviously you want to hold him accountable because he has to be involved defensively, especially on a rotating defense where you're heavy gap. So somebody get beat and the gap is closed up and you just slide and rotate. You help the helper. You know what I mean? You having PO switches, veer switches, all type of things. You have to be able to be in line and aligned with the rest of the defense while there's constant rotation, especially against a Boston Celtics team who moved the basketball as well as they did. But because he has such a heavy offensive load, it's hard to do all of that on offense and then also have the energy, the legs, and the endurance to also be locked in constantly on a rotating defense where you're sliding here, sliding there, getting back there, getting there. It's too much to ask for him. So that's going to be a conversation along with the 8 turnovers, but it's really hard to fault him. It really is. When you're watching this game and you're not just looking at the box score, I mean, P.J. Washington, they're living with, and he's not getting the 3-point shots that he really likes. P.J. Washington is a guy that prefers to shoot the 3 ball out of the corner. That's just what it is. The above the break and the pick and pop shots are not falling for him, so the Boston Celtics are living with those. I went into the series saying I love how Derek White has had a great bounce back season on a minimum. I love stories like that, but I felt shaky about him going into the series because I figured if Boston was going to live with somebody, it was going to be him. I didn't even expect P.J. Washington to not be able to knock down some of these shots. I thought he would be able to get some looks generated for him to where he would start to see some shots go in, and maybe he still will at home. But I knew going into this series that outside of the bigs, Derrick Jones Jr. was going to be the guy that Boston said, hey, if he makes 7 of them and they win, we tip our hat. Because I don't even think that I don't know if him hitting 2 or 3 is the difference maker for Boston. I mean, for Dallas to be Boston. You know what I mean? Like I just don't know if even if he, and yeah, I go 7 because if he hits 3, I don't know if Boston changes their philosophy. I think he would have to go like literally maniac from beyond the arc and do something crazy for Boston to change up that philosophy. You're putting Al Horford and Porzingis on him, and if Luka keeps killing you the way he is offensively, and you want to send 2, you want to blitz, you want to stay until the main primary ball handler fully recovers, you'll give up that 3 and allow Porzingis or Horford to rotate slowly on that closeout to Derrick Jones Jr. just to make sure that Luka can't really attack you off of that pick and roll like that. They're going to live with that. They're going to live with that, and he's going to have to make you pay, and thus far he hasn't. Tonight is another night where he goes, not another night in this series, but another night in the playoffs where he goes 3-less. Him and P.J. Washington combined for 1 of 8 from 3. And we talked about how badly the Boston Celtics shot the 3 ball. But on the flip side, as hard as it is to believe, the Dallas Mavericks shot even worse. Boston shot 25%. They shot 23%. 6 of 26. 4 of those threes come from Luka. The other one comes from a Dante Exum 3 that he hit in the 10 minutes that he played. And then obviously the 3 that P.J. Washington hit. They just got nothing. Kyrie went 3-less. You look at Kyrie, Derrick Jones Jr., and PJ Washington, and that is a 1 of 11 3-point performance. 1 of 11 from three. I will say Gafford gave you some strong minutes. Lively was able to get a dunk off of the pick and roll, which was something that they weren't able to score off of in game one. Man, it's hard to pinpoint exactly how they can negate some of these things or how they can neutralize certain guys, because they're neutralizing what you want to be neutralized, which is the dynamic wing duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. These guys haven't overwhelmingly performed on a box score level as far as points, but they have definitely taken advantage of the attention that they're going to get and that they're going to receive. They combined tonight for 19 assists, and Jason Tatum has taken on that role of saying, hey, if y'all going to make sure y'all are extreme gap defense on me and I'm seeing three bodies every time I put my head down, then I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to be a willing passer. I just think he needs to, as good as he did passing, I think he needs to fully commit more to driving. I think he has to. Again, too many times we've seen the sexy step back shot or settle shots, just shots where I felt like if you're 1 of 7, a step back jump shot in the mid range is probably not the one to take. Get to that rim, get a foul drawn, see some free throws go in the hoop, which he did eventually, 5 of 6 at the free throw line. He had a couple and ones. I like that, Jason Tatum. Drive, and continuously put the pressure on these guys to play without fouling. We seen in game one Lively pick up those fouls. Not so many in this game for him. Only 1, but you have Maxi Kleber with 4. Kyrie picked up 4. Put those bigs in a position to where they have to, foul you or allow you to really get to the rim and stop avoiding contact. I feel like some of those layups and scoops that Jason Tatum had when he's sidestepping, he's doing so much of this and that to avoid it instead of just going into him and putting the pressure on the referees to get you to the free throw line. You're at home. They're probably going to blow that whistle. And, the way y'all shot the free throw line as a team, y'all should want to get to that free throw line as much as y'all can. 20 free throws. They made 19 of them at a 95% clip, while on the other hand, Dallas misses 8 free throws. You miss 8 free throws, and you lose by 7. 8 points gives you a win. Obviously, I always say I don't expect a team or ask a team to make 100% of them. But, man, these are points that you look back on as a player and you say, if we did what we were supposed to do at the free throw line, it's a whole entire different game. You get what I'm saying? And obviously, there's so many different elements that go into the final box score, but the free throws are usually going to be the first things that you're going to look at, because those are points that you score with the clock stopped, and they're free. They're literally free points. So game 3 is going to probably be the most interesting game for me, y'all. It's probably going to be the most interesting game for all of us from a viewing experience. Dallas is going to be home. We've seen, I don't want to say every facet, but we've seen 2 different scenarios now where Boston can win. We've seen 2 different role players kind of star as far as Porzingis and Jrue Holiday. We've seen a Jason Tatum all right game. We've seen a completely terrible shooting game from Jason Tatum. We have seen Luca Doncic 30-point triple-double. We've seen Kyrie struggle in 2 games. I don't know. Maybe Kyrie is a difference maker. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he makes a couple more shots at home. Maybe Derrick Jones Jr. can now hit a 3 or 2. PJ Washington makes a couple more shots, and they're able to get that tipping point. But again, for me personally, a person that has no stake in this game, there just hasn't been anything that I can cling on to feel hopeful for the Mavericks to win 4 games. I just can't. It's nothing that I've seen that makes me feel confident that Dallas can win 4 before Boston wins 2. Nothing at all. It's just nothing. But like I said, it is interesting because what is going to be the recurring theme for Boston? Is Tatum going to struggle all series and have to be a passer? Is the role players of Derek White and Jrue Holiday, what's up with Porzingis' health? Is he going to not be able to play? Because the last time we seen him in this game too, it was not pretty. He did not look himself. He did a good job trying to hide it. He didn't make it overwhelmingly obvious, but anybody who was watching could see that there was a different type of movement with him after falling. So that's something that we have to look on to. And I'm gonna check my phone right now and make sure we ain't got no post game reports. As of right now, nah. Nope. We got Luca Doncic saying my turnovers and missed free throws cost us the game. That's good leadership. That's good leadership. That is good leadership. I mean, he's definitely right. If he makes 4 more of his free throws and probably don't turn the ball over 4 more times or 2 more times or 3 more times, this is a different game for sure. But I think we need to see some of what Kyrie said in one of those previous series where he said, I got to step up for Luca. I'm letting him down. I think this is the same thing, Kyrie. This is the same thing. As a Kyrie fan, I really wanted to see him really do his thing against them, especially in Boston with all of the history and things. But they've done a good job of just making him work and making him see defenders. He did a good job getting to that rim early with the jump shot. For whatever reason, it's not falling right now. And this is now, 0-12 since he did this stump on lucky type thing, and he's just not been able to really get his shot going there. Don't know if that's a mental thing, the environment, don't really know. But the only thing that I could see happening, potentially, is, the Mavericks have a game at home where they just can't miss a 3. You know what I'm saying? They like the Miami Heat did, where they just had a record-breaking 3-point night. It may be that's how you win. But then again, you're going to probably need them to shoot 25% from 3 again, which is hard for me to think that the Celtics are going to do because of the type of shots that were generated. Sam Hauser going 0-5 from 3. I don't think we'll see that again in this series. The shot, just based off the shot attempts that he got some really, really nice looks. But yeah, man, Game 3 is going to be interesting. Can't wait to see the adjustments that Jason Kidd tries to make. I'm probably going to watch this game two more times just to really try to fine tune it. These videos are fresh off of the membrane type analysis. So I'm going to dive in probably again tomorrow and really see some things that I can try to figure out for Dallas. I think this is where coaches really get their money made, because Boston is giving you a complete game. And that's what I keep trying to tell people about this series, where it's like, we can point out all of these different things that Luca can do offensively. He's an incredible passer. He's dangerous in the pick and roll. He's a tough shot maker. He can go and score half of the team's points in the first half. There's nobody on Boston who single-handedly can guard him. All of these things check out. These are all true facts. But even with that being said, it's a full, complete team game. And on the other side, Boston checks all of the boxes. They check all of the boxes, and they're ready and willing to play a complete game every single night. And because of that, this is why I have them winning this series ultimately. Y'all let me know y'all feedback, anything that y'all seen, anything that stood out for y'all, thoughts on the finals MVP through 2 games, anything that y'all really think the Mavericks could drive home to win a game. They win one of these games at home, especially this Game 3, and we're talking about a whole different series. You win Game 3, and you open up the door for this to be a completely different series. But you lose that Game 3, and this is all but over. I appreciate y'all. This is the place to be, locked in, all NBA Finals. This is the Pee Wee the Plug channel. I am Pee Wee the Plug. I will see you guys next time. I appreciate y'all. I'm out. Peace.